We have been involved with public safety departments over the globe in different cities over the last 15 years. But the smart city discussions that we've been hearing more recently is becoming more and more popular and perhaps indicating a new paradigm. Is it true or hype?
Well, you know, Andrea, we live in interesting times. There's a lot of turbulent change going on in terms of digital technologies disrupting business models and requirement for new types of skills, climate extremes definitely affecting coastal areas with natural disasters, demographic shifts, as in fact the UN predicts that from 54% in 2014 being the percentage of urban population going to 66% by 2050. So a huge growth, a huge shift in immigration from rural areas. And all of those factors are converging into what we call a smart city. And a smart city is well beyond technology. It is about innovating through data, it's about changing processes, it's about public-private partnership. Essentially to achieve three bottom lines: economic development, better quality of life, and sustainable resources from an environmental standpoint as well as from a financial standpoint for the public sector. And all of those things are mutually reinforcing if handled correctly, and they require city governments and local authorities to master new technologies, like what IDC calls the third platform technologies of cloud, mobile, social, and big data, as well as what we call the third platform innovation accelerators, like the Internet of Things, which everyone is talking about right now. So from a technological standpoint, it is a reality. It's here and now. The future is happening in smart cities.
So, as smart cities are a reality, what is the role of public security and safety to this context?
Well, we've been talking about this virtuous cycle of economic development, quality of life, and sustainability, and definitely public safety is one of the pillars of this virtuous cycle, because law enforcement means better opportunities for companies to invest in a certain city. It means better quality of life for the citizens because of reduction of crime, but it also means public safety organizations are better equipped to deal with natural disasters and react more promptly. And to do so, they can use a variety of technologies, and particularly there's a lot of tension right now around the Internet of Things. And we've interviewed about 180 local governments across Western Europe, just to give you an example, and 20% of them have told us that public safety is the #1 use case where they will invest in IoT, on top of 10% that had already invested when we ran the survey in mid-2015. And we've predicted that because of all of this change, because of different crime patterns becoming more mobile and digital and invisible to some extent, and because of these climate extremes creating natural disasters, public safety organizations will invest roughly $20 billion in 2016 in terms of IoT solutions. And that means biomonitoring, noise detection, thermal sensors, as well as video surveillance. And all of that to achieve certain business outcomes, like reduce the time to apprehend criminals, control crowds during major events, for instance, as well as react promptly to natural disasters, increase public trust as well, because video can enhance transparency of what public safety organizations and individual officers do. And overall achieve better outcomes for the citizens and feed into that virtuous cycle.
With the deluge of data available from mobile devices, social media, and a huge variety of IoT devices, how video surveillance can be important?
Well, if you think of it, it's logistically almost impossible and practically unaffordable for many public safety organizations to sift through the amount of data that they're receiving, the variety of sources, of formats, and the increasing speed of collection of that data. So it is very important to cut through that noise. And video surveillance in that sense can be the crown jewel somehow because it's timely. It can be adjusted to real time or quasi-real time, depending on the use case, for instance, by the level of risk, by the ability of officers to react and analysts to analyze the data. It is granular because through high-definition cameras, body-worn, drone-mounted cameras, and the analytics, it's deeper and deeper level of insights that public safety organization can extract from video images. It is trusted because video images have been used in courts for the longest time, and if they are captured, indexed, stored, and accessed correctly, they're much better in terms of transparency and security compared to social media that might be as timely and granular but can be easily manipulated. And finally, they're also cost effective because, quite honestly, the hardware as well as some of the analytics are becoming cheaper to handle, and cities are also finding creative ways to reduce costs, for instance, by sharing the same infrastructure across different departments. So security camera might be used for people counting or for parking monitoring to count the number of cars and so forth and so on. So overall, they have all of the characteristics to remain really important within this deluge of data.
What are the attributes that make video surveillance systems future-proof in this digital transformation journey that smart cities are embarking on?
Well, it's clearly less about the tools and the individual pieces of the technology. It is about the solution. It is about the ability of maintaining consistency and quality and security of data, as well as being agile to respond to emerging use cases. So it's the integrated solution, it's the process changes, it's the ability to extract the insights from the data that video surveillance system generate. And that requires at least 3 broad architectural components. Definitely the hardware, with the evolution towards 4K HD cameras, as we said, body-worn cameras and drone-mounted cameras. The edge analytics that allow to scale and respond to use cases more promptly compared to centralizing everything and having somebody having to sift through that amount of data. The second component is the video management platform. It could be cloud delivered or on-premise, but definitely it needs to enable more flexibility in terms of storage, capturing of images, remote control and configuration, as well as managing alarms and controls, for instance, through the automation of rule-based workflows that detect certain anomalies. And the final, probably the most important component to make it really future-proof is the openness of the platform. Because innovation cannot come just from the hardware side or the process side. There's a lot of creative companies and individuals and communities that can develop relevant analytics application that are jurisdiction specific, use case specific to a certain level of granularity, and they can only do so if the platform is open, if there are APIs that allow them to really realize the benefit of that data.
Thank you.